Hey everybody, welcome back to H4Games. I'm Tony.
And I'm John.
This is H4Games Gaiden. This is the show where we talk about gaming topics, gaming news, kind of whatever is on our mind. It is our Gaiden, our sideshow, our side quest, if you will.
Gaming banter.
Gaming banter. Now, John brought up an interesting topic to me that I hadn't really thought about before. It is forgotten gems, which are different than hidden gems.
Yes, so a hidden gem is a game that didn't sell well, wasn't very well known, and then became huge afterwards.
Yeah, or big enough to have a cult following.
Yeah. So I know there are a lot of games made by Treasure that, didn't get a lot of media attention over here, did get released, didn't sell in huge numbers, but now it's like people are desperately in love with those.
Like hidden treasures. Did you get it, John?
I get it.
Oh,
I get
it. Good.
So I noticed this when I was talking about Rogue Squadron. I think it was Rogue Leader, the sequel to Rogue Squadron, came in. Nice GameCube game. Very good GameCube game, actually. Came for trade-in at Retro Taku. And I was like, oh man, Rogue Squadron. Oh, I love that game. And the person I was talking to who was buying some Nintendo 64 games at the time kind of like paused. I was like, Rogues? Oh, yeah, I remember that. Man, those were great. And it's like, as soon as you mention Rogue Squadron, it pops back into people's heads like, oh yeah, no, those were great.
Yeah.
But like, they've just been forgotten.
Yeah, so it's kind of the opposite. You know, you mentioned that the best example of a hidden gem would be Earthbound, because it's just like keeps inflating like this bubble of a cult following, but the opposite would be
it was once hidden. I mean, it
was once hidden, but a forgotten gem is more like it was popular, but then no one really thinks about it anymore.
Yeah, so there was, Earthbound got a lot of press coverage, but then didn't sell terribly well.
Yeah.
But now everybody is nuts for it, which is why the cartridges are way too expensive.
Exactly.
But say something that gets as much press and coverage as say something like, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Like that got a ton. Any of the Modern Warfare, any Call of Duty, really. They get huge coverage. They sell like crazy. And then people completely forget about the previous one. And then looking back, you start to realize, hey, one or two of those was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And that's the perfect example of a forgotten gem.
Yeah, it's like suddenly people have amnesia that this big game ever existed.
Yeah.
Essentially. So one that I was thinking about was Illusion of Gaia. And this is sort of in between, because I think it
was also in every single person's rental store. Yeah,
and it was one of those games that I think did reasonably well at the time. It's part of the Soul Blazer series, for those of you that are unfamiliar. It's like an action-adventure, sort of Zelda-ish type of game. And it had a cult following, and then now nobody talks about it anymore. Yeah. So it's almost like it was a hidden gem, and then it became a forgotten gem, because it's just like nobody talks about Illusion of Gaia. No one talks about Soul Blazer. No one really very few people talk about Terranigma, the one that was only released in Europe and Japan.
Well, that's the reason. Like,
but it's just so strange to me, because everyone's like everyone's just like going nuts over like your Chrono Trigger. Right? And people have kind of had a resurgence about Secret of Mana since the remake. But there are all these other games here that people are just like, yeah, these were amazing. Oh, but I don't remember them anymore.
I would say another example of a forgotten gem, because it stands so deep in the shadow of the predecessor, is Majora's Mask. Okay. People are so focused on Ocarina of Time, if they're talking about the 64, that sometimes they forget Majora's Mask was pretty damn good. Yeah. And people always like, oh, well, that wasn't as good. And it's like, no, but it was still really, really good. It was a great experience on that system. I feel like people discount it way more than they should, and it just kind of falls in its shadow.
Yeah. You know, probably the best example that I can think of is the Commander Keen series. Now, when I was a kid, my parents had every Commander Keen game on their PC. My grandparents had most of them, and we played the hell out of these games. Just, if you haven't played them, essentially it is a DOS-based platformer, and you are a kid genius that goes to these different alien planets and has to fight Mortimer McMire and fight off these aliens. But it's just, it's sometimes if you bump the difficulty, it can be tough as nails, but it's fun as hell. And you know what? Everyone I talk to is like, oh yeah, my dad loaded number whatever version on our computer back in 1990 whatever.
Now,
but no one talks about it.
Now, was Commander Keen id or 3D Realms? I think it was id.
Yeah.
Which was so entertaining that I think they had originally been trying to pitch a side-scrolling game. Like, they were trying to build an engine that would work on computers like it would on consoles at the time. And they had tried pitching like a demo to Nintendo, like, let us make Mario for the PC. And Nintendo was like, no, we're not doing that. We're keeping this stuff in-house in the future, because I think they didn't like how ports were handled on the early 8-bits. So instead they're like, we're going to make Commander Keen. And they made a whole bunch of them, and they've aged pretty well.
They've aged really well. You know, we actually did a review of Commander Keen 4, but the audio had some sort of weird interference, so it became completely unusable. It's one of our unused...
It's a forgotten gem.
Forgotten episode.
that episode, it's so
never
forgotten,
got edited, yeah.
Because you guys forgot that you didn't even see it.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet a couple of you were like, oh yeah, I remember that one. Wait, it never came out?
Yeah, exactly, right? So, that said, you know, let us know what you think a prime example of a forgotten gem would be in the comments below, and why. What was the history of this game? Like, what happened? Why do you think people have forgotten about it over time? Now, of course, not everybody's going to be constantly talking about my favorite game or your favorite game or whatever, but like sort of as a collective whole, you know, you can kind of tell when games are good but pushed so far by the wayside that they've just, the interest in them has gone to rock bottom. Yeah. Essentially. But yeah, let us know in the comments below, because we are certainly interested. Obviously interested enough to make a video out of it.
Certainly interested enough to spend 10 minutes recording some audio for it.
Exactly. Aside from that, we will see you all next time. Thank you for watching, subscribing, and all that good stuff.
So subscribe, like, and ring that bell.
Ring that bell.
Do it. Do it. We actually are basically forced to say this. Thanks, Google.
Thank you again for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like and a share, and we will see you guys next time.